Hello everyone, welcome back to my videos. My name is Jacob. Today I'm going to be fixing my dad's 2006 Honda 4-stroke 2 horsepower outboard motor. This is the first time I'm going to be taking apart a carb and cleaning it. Let's check it out. As you can see, the engine is currently not working properly. It dies actually pretty quickly in the water. I started with the removal of the hood of the engine. Most clips from now on are going to be pretty fast because it did take me like 2 hours to take it off, clean it, and put it back on. I started by removing the pull string holder so the hood was not in the way. I removed this thing that the throttle cable attaches to. I switched the drill head to the longer one so it could reach the screws under the air intake. The 2 horsepower Honda 4-stroke outboard is actually air cooled, unlike most outboards, which is water cooled by salt water. I unscrewed and drained where the float is to get the remaining gas out of the carburetor. I put a bucket underneath to catch any fuel that might have dripped out, and then disposed of it properly afterwards. I removed the top of the carburetor instead of removing it later when you're supposed to do it, to clean the inside of it. I use pliers to get the little tiny tube that's attached that allows gas to flow into the carburetor. Because there's like this little tiny metal thing, almost like a clip, that's really tight and you use pliers to get it out. Once removed, I stuck it up where the holder for the throttle cable was, and I stuck it straight in the air because on these 2 horsepower motors, there's a little throttle that allows you to open and close gas on the engine. So this was now open, so if it was pointing down, it would have dripped. And that would be bad. Once I had the carburetor removed, I removed the little float that's on the bottom. Yeah, I used my drill to do it. As you can see, it's pretty rusty in there. That's from the alcohol in the fuel. It rusts away metal. I used my screwdriver to unscrew the jet that's in there. That's what actually is the main cause for the engine having problems, and the reason I had to take all this apart. You gotta be pretty careful when unscrewing it because it's made of brass and it's easily chipped. After I was finished taking it all apart, I didn't know what to do, so I called a friend who recommended I get carb cleaner to clean the carb. So I went over to my local West Marine and got this carb cleaner. It was $10. And fun fact, This thing can cause cancer. Seriously, it's like a huge label on it that says cancer. Warning, cancer. I looked up online and this is what they recommend to use to clean the carbs on these outboards. And this is the whole reason I did all this for. This tiny little tube gets gunked up and it can cause an entire engine to have issues. I also sprayed it in the float to rub away the rust. I went on to spray all of the carburetor with the carb cleaner and used a paper towel to wipe it down to scrub out any dirt and debris. The gasket that goes between the carburetor and the rest of the engine kind of reminded me of a weird smiley face. Put the engine back together and it started on one pull once all together. Though the prop was spinning, so I had to adjust the throttle cable on it. It took me a couple of tries, and this was the time I left the camera running while actually adjusting it. Now the engine starts with only one pull and it is properly running. Time to take it and test it on the water. Well, that would be the case, but we had to help a friend who has a sailboat, so who needs a test run? Let's just charge right ahead. I did this so my dad can use it on his new West Marine RU 250 inflatable boat. As you can see, the engine only weighing 35 pounds. My dad's able to pass it down to his friend and install it on the inflatable, no problem. The reason for no sea trial was because we were helping a friend change out a battery on his sailboat. As you can see, they're lowering down the battery into the inflatable to take it out. My friend has a little rowboat, which it's pretty difficult to keep a battery from getting wet in a rowboat. My dad and his friend will take out the inflatable first because there's not enough room for 3 people and this battery to move it onto the sailboat. So they'll be test driving the engine first. I'm really happy that it actually runs properly and they're heading out.
Is there...
My dad's kind of funny like that. It seems like everything is running properly on the little boat, including me to the end of the dock. This is not a sponsored video. It was filmed using an iPhone, a Canon camera, and a GoPro.